about that. What would be your plan? What would be your plan to ensure that people at least have the means to not go bankrupt if they get seriously ill?
Okay. First of all, my plan says it should stay privatized. Okay? Now, how is an individual, let's say, how many children do you have?
I have 3.
You've got 3 children. Okay. There's 5 of you in your family. And I'm not going to ask you what you make for a living. That's none of our business, okay? But I'm going to say this.
I pay a lot of taxes.
You pay a lot of taxes. Yeah, I did too this year. Yeah. Let's say you make $65,000 a year, okay? We're going to have an actuarial table made, okay? So that at $65,000 a year, you go to your insurance company, Prudential Insurance, you go to any insurance company, and you ask them, you know, how much is my premium? And they're going to say, it's $1,200 a month for your family.
Right.
But because of your income in the children you have and all the dependents you have, the actuarial table says you can only afford $600 a month. You're going to get your tax dollars back in a voucher that's going to pay for the difference.
Okay, so that would be expenditures added to the budget then.
Well, that's, if you take my flat tax and have that in the budget, that's not going to change anything. Because in my budget right now, in my flat tax budget, you're going to get rid of 2/3 of the IRS, which is big money. So all that money can help pay for your health insurance.
So if you could save $500 billion out of the federal budget, you think that'd be enough to?
Yes, it would be. It would be plenty of money to help everybody get their insurance. Don't forget, now everybody has to pay. And the rule is going to be that there is going to be no pre-existing conditions. So if I've had a heart attack or something like that, they have to take it on. Now I want to go one step further in this, okay?
Okay.
If this socialistic gets in, the socialistic healthcare gets in, you realize how many jobs are going to be lost in the healthcare industry, in the insurance industry? There'll be thousands of them gone. Another thing is, do you realize that a lot of the buildings, big buildings in Chicago, New York, downstate Illinois, Sterling, Springfield, are built with insurance dollars? People pay their premiums into the company, they invest that, and then they build these big buildings, and they put contractors and people to work building these buildings. Without that influx of money, it's going into the government. Don't tell me the government's going to give money back to the contractors and builders to build buildings. They're not going to do it. The insurance companies do it. So that's going to put contractors out of work, and it's also going to put people out of work who are in the insurance industry right now.
So how come no one talked about that during this healthcare debate? You know, we had this on TV, this healthcare debate.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about healthcare, and they talk about saving money. No one talked about people losing jobs.
Because you don't have accountants in the government. You hardly have any accountants that are in the Congress or in the Senate. All they're thinking about is what's being told to them. They're not sitting down and thinking about what can happen to the general public when this goes into effect. You realize all those tax dollars, all those, not tax dollars, all those monies, the premium monies that are being invested by insurance companies, they're earning money on that, and they're passing it out to contractors to build. That's going to go away. We're going to lose. And we're also going to lose in our marketing. We're going to lose in the fact that we don't have companies that are going to be diligent in advancing new medicine, because why should they? The incentive is gone. You're taking away the incentive out of the American people from what our country was built on. And the Democrats and the Republicans are fighting back and forth, and they're not thinking. So yes, why hasn't that been done? Why hasn't the flat tax been done? Because they don't think about it, or they don't want to do it because they don't want to lose their jobs, because it's kind of an unpopular thing to say that everybody has to pay tax. But you have to reason how the tax are being paid. Let's just, for instance, if you own municipal bonds, okay, and you get interest on municipal bonds, that's tax-free, okay? I know people in Rockford make $400,000 a year on municipal bond interest, okay? They don't pay any federal income tax on that. Now, if we add that into the mix, your tax rate wouldn't be 11.1%. It may be only 9%. Mm-hmm. Okay? So we have to look at things one step at a time, but get it going right.
Okay. All right, let's change the subject here a little bit to energy dependence and independence. How do we reduce our energy dependence on foreign countries?
First of all, in Illinois here, we have a lot of oil under our ground here. We need to drill for that wherever we can. Okay? We need to drill offshore. We need to drill wherever we can find oil, because that is a great source for energy, as we all know. But do you realize that they have just found potential reserves in South Dakota and also in Montana that's enough to last at our current consumption rate for 2,041 years?
Well, if that's true, then
under our
I think
ground?
we should go for it, huh?
I think we should go for it. Now, you're going to have people say, well, you're going to disrupt the environment. In this day and age of technology, it's not the wildcatters' days like it used to be. We have ways that we can drill underground and drill 7 miles out this way without disrupting anything and get the oil out. Now, another way to help this energy, which we could do right away also, is that we have gasohol. You hear about gasohol. And you hear that they cook corn and they cook soybeans. They cook anything to make alcohol, okay? Now, what if I told you there was a way that you could make that alcohol without using fossil fuels? In other words, oils and gases from the ground to cook it. And there is. We have one of the greatest supplies of energy that's untapped right now to cook that corn. It's called garbage. In Chicago.
So methane?
No.
No. Burn the garbage.
Burn the garbage.
So you're not waiting for it to turn to methane?
You're not waiting for it to turn. What you do, and in Chicago it's been proven, and they're doing it out in Colorado now, and I hear they're doing it in Iowa, is that Wheelabrator Fry is a company out on the East Coast that makes these big furnaces. Once you get this furnace going and throwing all this garbage in there to let it burn, all right, that creates low pressure steam. Okay? And low pressure steam then can be piped and it could cook the corn. And what you're doing is you're burning all your garbage and you're cooking the corn to make alcohol for your gasohol.
So let's talk about emissions then, because that's down here in cap and trade. What about the emissions that would come from burning garbage?
Well, that's the beauty of it. These furnaces now and everything have beautiful scrubbers in them, where these scrubbers take all that stuff out of it. So what you get left is an inert ash. Putting rules like cap and trade on businesses is ludicrous. I mean, businesses have to be responsible. That's true. But we can't tax them to death. That's wrong. And that doesn't create jobs. But these furnaces, did you ever eat Brock candy? Your dad's sitting over there. Did you ever eat Brock candy? Okay. Brock candy was right down the street from a garbage incinerator plant in Chicago. They piped the steam down there to melt the chocolate that went on Brock candy. So it can be done. Excuse me. It's been done.
Okay.
And I think that we should drill. We should also go after nuclear sources. We should also go after geothermal. I like wind farms. Okay. And I like anything we can do to supplement our energy. But right now we have nothing that can really supplement for the oil and coal that we have in the ground here.
So what is the federal government's role in all this? Is it to allow the free markets to unshackle them, or is it to have government programs?
No, it's to let the free market go.
Okay.
With guidelines. Government's always good for a couple things, all right? First of all, to set guidelines and to monitor that things are going right, okay. All right? We need to do that for all of us, because if we didn't do that, like in education, you may be speaking Spanish in California, you'd be speaking Bohemian in Chicago, you'd be speaking anything in the South, whatever it may be. We have to have one language, so that we can communicate in one school system that's monitored by the federal government, okay? But the way to teach and do everything should be monitored by the schools. But the government needs to monitor what's going on, but we should let the free market system work.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about climate. Do you give any credence to the August 2009 climate feedback article by Dr. Linzen and Choi from MIT and the emails from scientists at the University of East Anglia Climate Research Unit, or do you believe the science is settled in global warming?
On global warming, that's all over the map. There's scientists on either side of the fence that'll prove you right or wrong. The United States, the world, Europe has been around for millions and millions and millions of years. And I don't see anything really changing. Like in July this year, where the average temperature was 67 degrees, I mean, that's not global warming. All right? Yeah, there's emissions that are going up into the atmosphere. Yeah, and they say some of the ozone is disappearing. I think with prudence by the manufacturing industries and by consumption of the people, that we can help control some of that. And I think that the people are smart enough to know that that has to be done. I don't look for total government controls on anything like that.